seen a lot of different indigenous healers help the people when they got stuck. And our feeling was, well, we know our movement is only going to go so far as long as we don't have similar understanding of this healing process. And we can't very well keep asking indigenous people to help us every time people get stuck, because there's billions of people literally probably who need this help. So we were like, how do we get, what kind of model can we create to move this forward for the people who are doing nature connection? And that was my primary intention for getting this started.
Yeah, there's different types of ceremonies. We actually talk about 8 ceremonies because we attach this to the 8 shields in the organization. And each one has an application both as a life stage, but also as a tool that can be used at various points of difficulty in life. So we have what's typically called the Inipi in Lakota, which means life within, but commonly in English language we call it sweat lodge. It's a purification rite. It's a way to like re-energize and regenerate ourselves as individuals and as a community. And so in so many words, it like washes away all that junk that builds up in this life. You know, when we're walking through life and we have all these stresses and we have all these different problems that come up, what the Inipi does is it cleans it away. And then we can kind of come out and face life anew and approach it with a healthy, clear mind again. We have the Vision Quest, and that's another rite of passage in that if somebody chooses to do that, then it's an option for them to actually go into a secluded area in the wilderness that is, of course, safe and protected with all the things that we can do with that, and actually enter into wilderness by themselves and have that connection be built up through that deep relationship internally and with nature. And then, of course, the community sends that person out and welcomes them back. And anybody that goes out, whether it's just for a short time or for a long duration, they get something. You know, they get a connection, they get an understanding of the connection, they bring it back to the community, and it makes everybody healthier. We also have song and drum, which typically people don't think of that as, you know, ceremony, but that's a component of every ceremony. That's definitely a component of every ceremony. And in itself, it's a ceremony, you know, just to be able to sing and what that means, to be able to utilize something as simple as a drum to create a rhythm, to create sound, to create unity. So that's utilized as its own ceremony, but it's also utilized in each part, in every other ceremony. And we also have the concept of what we call the Chinupa, or the sacred pipe, which it's the understanding of the relationship of a tool and how that tool can be used in relationship to the greater context of creation, and how to connect through that tool to really understand what's happening around us, and to get deep insight, what you could call kind of like activating or energizing intuition and subconsciousness, and bringing that subconsciousness up into the conscious mind so that we can process it and think about it, and then again share it with our community. We have the sacred fire, which is another tradition of utilizing fire in a particular way to create a container for, could be for grieving, it could be for healing, it could be for unification of community. We also have woman's ceremonies that are particular to a woman based on a woman's life. That includes transition points like when the period, when they first get their menses, or what we call moon time, childbirth, pregnancy, the menopause. There's certain things that happen with a woman that's unique and that actually has physical markers of transition points. So all of those need to be honored and recognized, because in essence they're an internal ceremony that the women go through.
I've never seen anyone capable of initiating themselves in isolation. There is some kind of biological, inborn, programmed need as human beings to have feedback and connection and love and certain kinds of honoring and respectful interactions with other human beings. And when that's in place, people's attributes shine. So we're not just teaching an individual to be happy as an individual. We're teaching individuals to find their power within the context of healthy community. And those two things have to be developed side by side.
Yeah, it's that simple. You know, it takes all three parts. You know, it takes that relationship to self, and that relationship to community, that relationship to the, you know, nature, ultimately.
It's about the things that need to be kept in place, as Sal just said, throughout the stages of life, and dealing with them at each stage so that a person can maintain their relationship with themselves and their own connection and strengthen their own essence. And that's ultimately what we're aiming for. It's a process that takes a little while to get mastery of, so to speak. And you know, it's not something you can learn in a weekend. It's not something you can learn in a day. It's something that's going to have to grow in the individual, and so we created the pattern so that it would afford that opportunity to people, that they could be in long-term relationship, mentoring relationship. And I guess the only other thing I might add to that is that just to think about this as advanced mentoring. You know, we understand that mentoring builds connection. We understand that connection gets blocked. So there's advanced mentoring in what we're doing that helps people move past those blocks to be more effective in their own communities, because ultimately, how are you going to bring this home to your neighborhood? How are you going to bring this home to your fire, the earth, the people? It's needed everywhere right now. So we're really trying to help activate the network of people who are already doing good deep nature connection mentoring work and get them more effective. You know, what I've also heard is that I've heard from mothers of people who have done this. You know, I don't know what you've done for my son or my daughter, but whatever it is, I want to know, because you've covered something that I couldn't figure out for my children for a long time, so thank you. You know, and I've heard that from multiple families. And ultimately, you know, we're here to build healthy families, and you know, that's very important. And the thing that's really exciting to me is the intergenerational support that we're getting, and that there are whole families coming now, and that's a wonderful thing.
My name's Haku, actually. Asaki, and this is my second season, well, second of the Turning of the Sun seasons of LIP, so second year. And let's see, I came into this program pretty much, or whatever you want to call it, you know, I'm trying to think of a good name for it, because, you know, it's really about building family and community and connections and spreading love, if you want to say it simply, you know, just love of everything out there, you know, yourself and other people and the world. So anyways, came into this really needing to, feeling the need to do some inner healing in myself, some things that have just been around for a long time and kind of holding me back, or so it felt. So I didn't even necessarily come in with any intentions of being a water pourer in an inipi or sweat lodge or anything like that, but that was one of the things that was kind of mentioned here, was, you know, bringing people to a place of health and balance in themselves. So I came in with that and have just been really focusing on that. And you know, I kind of see in the future, you know, the possibility of me pouring, because, you know, I see a lot of good things, like really powerful things, happen to people after any nipi or any number of these ceremonies, Vision Quest, Tamblecha, things that, you know, it seems like happen more effectively in these than almost any other practice out there, you know, therapy or, you know, whatever. So the biggest thing, you know, I felt in myself after being here and learning these things and experiencing these ceremonies and these teachings was that, you know, through my life I've gone, you know, when I get hung up on stuff, I can go way down and just feel really crappy, and sometimes feel like, wow, you know, nothing's been, will this ever change? Will I ever be, you know, healthy and balanced? You know, will this just be the rest of my life where I just, you know, I get high and then I fall back into the same spot? And a huge difference for me was that after going through this LIP, when I would get to those places, because it's not like it just, okay, now I'm not in those places ever again. But when I would go to those places, I would be in that spot and I would feel like, you know, wow, here I am again, but it's cool, you know, because like I will still keep walking on the good path, and I know that it's okay, and I may come here again and again, but I'm moving forward. And you know, maybe I'm moving slow, but that's okay too. And so that just gave me, you know, it's like, feels good, you know, it's like, wow, you know, I don't really, you know, have the same kind of despair that I'd be like, wow, you know, I'll just be like this for the rest of my life, even after all these things I've been trying to heal. So it seems like some good healing came out of this for sure.
Hi, I'm Zeli Golden, and I'm one of the co-founders of Wilderness Torah, which is a Bay Area organization that's reconnecting Jewish life to the natural world, really attempting to understand the ancestral connection of the Jewish people to the natural world in a time when we were disconnected. And for me, this is sort of one of the core issues facing humanity, is how we find that core connection. That core connection so we can understand as individuals our personal gifts. You know, so we can understand in a community how to relate to each other in a good way, and as people on Earth, how to relate to the Earth in a good way, all with understanding of our core relationship to Spirit. Years ago, I was in a sweat lodge, and something opened up in me, and I discovered something really powerful. And since then, I've sort of taken steps towards learning more about Native American ceremony and the Native American pathways. And I've had a lot of questions with that. It wasn't until a couple of years ago when I met Sal and I got involved with the H. Shields Institute, and then more recently the Leadership Initiation Program, that I really got an opportunity to be taught and be taken on a journey of understanding some of the core teachings. And for me, it's been an incredible experience, because while I've been able to sit in Native ceremony in the sweat lodge, for example, or the kinds of Native American ceremonies, what I'm learning here is that Sal and Judy and all the teachers that are involved in this and all the leaders that are coming through, they're really interested in helping us understand the core teachings, and also giving us a very open environment within which to ask our core questions, and then be taken on a journey and being given instructions on really the cultural map, what it means to be a human being on Earth, through the lens of these specific traditions, which are universal to all human beings.
And maybe for us, we don't feel like we're part of the community anymore, because we're just co-located social beings. We're no longer community. And what we're doing is learning how to put community back. And that's at the heart and soul of what this whole initiative is about. Learning to do that in a good way. And each of us has a role to play in that, because we were all born with certain gifts, and it won't look the same for any two people in this circle. It's unbelievably important work right now in this time in history, and to me, the hope for the future lies in our ability to respond to this and to help others move in a good way. And if we can find this way to get a handle on what we're doing here and to really help others learn it quickly, we could have a viral peacemaking movement come out of it. And I keep holding out for a viral peacemaking movement, because nothing else is going to save the day except that. We've tried war, it didn't work very well. And now we'll try peace. And our relatives in the natural world are waiting for us to come home. So that's at the heart and soul of what we're doing.
Yeah, that thing is awesome.